Welcome, everyone. I am Rich Wysocki, and I'm excited to start my first course on saving for what's important, with a focus on financial wellness. You might be asking yourself, what is financial wellness? Financial wellness is the ability to manage short-term finances while also saving for long-term goals. This talk or session will focus on many of those attributes of good financial wellness. This includes your short-term needs of being able to pay your monthly mortgage or rent. It means having enough money for your basic needs, food, clothes, general household items. It also includes being able to maintain a good standard of living and also making sure you are able to pay for your health care or medical needs. Financial wellness isn't just being able to pay for your current needs, but it's also having the mental feeling of security in your job or your career. The feeling you are in control of your financial situation. This includes being confident in being able to pay for your needs, being healthcare or housing. In addition, we'll touch on those long-term financial needs, which include saving for retirement and possibly saving for college for your children. One aspect I decided to focus on in this session is making sure you are taking advantage of your employee benefits. It's something I don't think we talk about enough. Lastly, I do want to highlight that income and financial wellness are not entirely dependent on one another. A higher income does not necessarily mean you will have better financial wellness. You can have a higher income but make bad decisions. Financial wellness is having the tools and knowledge to better manage your personal finances. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. Over the past 25 plus years, I've been a software developer and manager, primarily building software. I originally spent close to 20 years at Aramark, a food service management company. Much of that time I was building point of sale and management systems for colleges and universities. Over the last 6 plus years, I have been a manager of IT at Ascensus. Ascensus is a company that helps Americans save for healthcare, college, and retirement. I'm fortunate I get to work for a company that shares my passion in helping people save for important life events. The topics presented in this session are my own views. I am not representing anyone. Many of these topics I just wish someone had talked to me about either in college or as I started my own career. Financial wellness and saving for what's important are essential for anyone at any age. All statistics I bring up are from articles I've read or statistics I've researched. Many of these I do highlight in these slides, but otherwise, I suggest you do research yourself. In addition to my work career, I've been married for almost 20 years with 2 wonderful children. One of these kids is almost 16 with college on the way. So all of these topics are very important to me and my own financial wellness. You might want to better understand why I feel this topic is so important. Well, I've always been a little like Alex P. Keaton, a character on the show Family Ties. Hopefully, you've seen this show before. I'm sure my family history has affected me. I have absolutely the best parents anyone could ever have. I wish I could be just like them. But my dad is 77 and still working. My mom is 72 and still working. They truly enjoy working, but as I think of my own long-term financial goals, I would like to retire much sooner than they are. Another reason I find this topic very important is I don't feel companies help us enough on financial wellness. They know it's important. Recently, companies are creating their own financial wellness programs, but they seem inadequate. Companies today do give you the tools, but they don't give you the support to always make the right long-term decisions. Typically, they just drop the tools or mail the paperwork to you, but don't always help you in using them. That is why I wish someone had talked to me earlier. In my career, I've seen many people regret their past decisions. I, of course, have some regrets. and I see others making those same decisions that I made. At the end of the day, I want you to be able to take care of yourself now, having fun, relaxing, but also enjoying a great retirement. I want you to be able to ask yourself, where is our next vacation? In order to do that, you need to save. You will most likely be working around 44 years, and you'll probably need savings to last you into your 90s. Now, before we start, let's just admit this topic is very hard. We have a lot of different areas we want to spend our money on today. It's hard when you want to get your Starbucks coffee every morning. Or who wouldn't want the latest Tesla car? You could try and justify it by saying you're buying a fuel-efficient car, but it's still an expensive car. Who wouldn't want that mini mansion house? Maybe you're like myself with 2 kids, and of course wanting to financially provide them the best possible life. Or maybe they are approaching college, so you need to pay for those expenses soon. Again, these decisions are hard. I'm not here to force you on anything. If you want financial wellness and the ability to save for important events, then it's up to you to make those hard decisions. I've made many different choices over these 25 past working years. For me, when I started my retirement, I think I started with a 401k at 6% for many, many years. That was our company match, so I figured that was the right number. Over time, I knew I wasn't saving enough and moved it up to 10% and then 15%. But after a few years, I moved it back down to 6% when my wife went back to school. I wish I hadn't lowered it. Today, we will be talking about a few different topics. First off, what is financial wellness and why is it important to you? We'll also highlight a few facts on why your employer cares about this topic. Next up, we'll touch on the short-term financial goals you should be working on. Next, we'll set you up for your long-term financial success. You may have others besides your career or college saving needs, but we're just going to focus on these 2 today. Lastly, concentrating on financial wellness too, I wanted to highlight on how you can maximize your employer benefits. These benefits will really assist you in many of your short-term or long-term needs. Now, in December of 2019, I actually completed a financial wellness session for some college students. Prior to that event, I had these students complete a survey with 5 questions to better understand them. Hopefully, these results reinforce why financial wellness might be important to you as well. The first question was, I will have student debt after I graduate college. The results were much higher than I had expected. 83% of these young adults attending college would. As someone who luckily came out of school with no college debt, although my parents did, I don't know what it's like having years of student bills. As I approach my later 40s, I've recently had friends say they are just now paying off these student loans. I just think of the lost opportunity they've had with all these bills. The next few questions were related around medical bills. I personally see my costs going up each and every year. As I've seen my employer move more and more to high deductible health insurance plans, I wanted to ask questions related around this topic. My assumptions were correct that most college students today are not familiar with these types of plans or health savings accounts. My last 2 questions were around retirement. The first one asked, what percentage of your salary do you think you will need to save to retire comfortably? This question had some interesting results. Everyone recognized that you must be saving at least 10% of your salary, and even 50% thought you needed to save at least 15% or more. While this number is good, this completely contradicts the actual results of young adults. According to Motley Fool, a website dedicated on helping people invest, Young people under 25 only contributed on average 4.5% of their salary. In addition, only 20% of all participants in a 401k at any age contributed more than 10%. I suspect these young adults recognize that in order to retire comfortably, they need to contribute more, but they are stretched by student loans, or they may be pushing it off, hoping that their financial situation improves. The last question on the age of retirement was more just for fun, but it was interesting that most people, 66%, hope to be able to retire around 60. Personally, I wish them the best of luck, and hopefully this talk will help. But statistics prove otherwise, as more and more people are working longer today. Now, these statistics show why understanding financial wellness is important, as well as why saving should be important to you. I got these results from financialwellness.com. They show that 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. They don't save regularly. Maybe they are putting all their income into paying off other loans, like student debt. But this could lead to missing or paying late on bills. All of this leads to bad behaviors. The second statistics highlights the lack of long-term financial success that many Americans face. Over 50% of Americans have less than $10,000 saved for retirement. While these individuals might think that Social Security will save them, we'll show in future slides why you need to prioritize retirement savings for yourself. Lastly, and this is why having an emergency fund is important, 64% of Americans can't even cover a $1,000 expense. That may not sound horrible, but it shows how most Americans aren't saving regularly. And this could lead to many other bad financial decisions, like skipping health needs or not paying a bill on time, resulting in fees that take away even more of your income. Now, employers today are recognizing the unique financial challenges their employees are facing and are implementing financial wellness programs to help address these challenges. From what I've seen, most of their efforts are on education, hoping their employees change their behavior. Employers care about their employees because it's affecting them. The stress causes employees lower productivity and the need to search out different jobs. Some employees delay healthcare treatment, which then costs the company higher medical costs in the long run. In addition, as you see, these employees aren't funding their retirement like they should. Employers recognize that employees not saving may stay longer at a company, resulting in higher medical costs as they age. While having seasoned employees can be great, they also don't want their healthcare costs to increase either. Now, if you're in college, just starting your career, or like myself, have been working for over 25 plus years, this should be your first financial goal, creating an emergency fund. An emergency fund is for unsuspected expenses, not vacations, not your regular savings, but for something completely unknown. Examples include losing your job, a health issue, or an unknown home improvement. Maybe your water heater breaks, or your heater dies in the winter. I always admit this is one of my biggest financial regrets. I haven't made this a huge priority, even when I know I should. The reality is you never think something bad is going to happen to me. I've seen so many coworkers getting laid off. I've talked with people where their entire company is shut down. I've had coworkers where they've said their air conditioner has died, and I still haven't made it a priority. Luckily, I do have some savings, but let me give you 2 recent examples on why I'm trying to make this more of a priority. We'll talk about health care plans later, but we took our daughter for a medical test in January, and it's just now December, almost 12 months later. What do we get in the mail 3 weeks before Christmas? a $1,500 bill and it was due in under 30 days. Not sure about you, but getting a $1,500 bill is never great. Then 1 week before Christmas, our car stopped working. We had to have it towed to the mechanic. Now luckily it was just the battery, but that was another $300 of unexpected repairs. Without savings or an emergency fund, it's easy to make bad decisions. Those financial decisions can cost you a lot of money in the long run. For example, if I was living paycheck to paycheck and didn't have the money, it's possible I could have just paid them with a credit card. To highlight how bad decisions can cost you even more money, I assumed I might have a credit card balance of $2,000. I took my Wells Fargo credit card interest rate of 15.49% and figured out 1 month's interest from financialmentor.com. It was $25.82 for 1 month. That's over $300 a year in just interest. Just imagine what you could have used that $300 for. Once you're committed to an emergency fund, remember that most websites and people will recommend that you have between 3 and 6 months worth of expenses. That doesn't mean gross salary, but the ability to pay your bills for 3 to 6 months. Again, I've seen people laid off, companies go under. You never know when it's coming. This money should also be safe from market condition. It's tough seeing your money not making huge returns, but it's also very comforting when the market goes down, knowing your emergency fund is also safe. My personal recommendations on how to get started is to first create an investment area outside of your typical accounts. For example, most of our banking needs are set up in BB&T Bank. Having our emergency fund in the same accounts are too easy to spend, and also the investment rates are too low, just 0.01%. We set up an account at Ollie Bank. It's currently 1.6%, and it's really easy to move money between the different banks if needed. This has allowed us to slowly build up our emergency fund while continuing our other long-term needs. For you, you could start an account with $100 and then move 50, 20, or more each week into this emergency fund until you reach your goal. Just don't forget to revisit this account from time to time. Make sure it reflects your current increases in salary. Now, your best option for long-term financial success is probably a 401k. Please be aware that not all employers offer a 401k, and there are other opportunities to save for longer-term financial success as well. Some people I know invest in real estate, or if you don't have a 401k offered at your company, you might look at an IRA, an individual retirement account. Today, we are going to focus on 2 options that your employer may offer you. These are a traditional 401k and a Roth IRA. A 401k plan is the tax-qualified defined contribution plan defined in Section 401k of the Internal Revenue Service Code. That's really the book answer. Under a 401k, retirement saving contributions are provided to you and sometimes matched by your employer, deducted from your employee's paycheck before taxes. These contributions to the plan are therefore tax deferred until withdrawal after retirement or when permitted by law. An employee may contribute up to a maximum amount per year. It is $19,500 as of 2020. A great component of this traditional 401k account is that you reduce your current taxes, helping you to offset the investment you are making. A similar type of 401k is called the Roth 401k. This account was first created in 1998, allowing employees to contribute post-tax funds to an individual retirement account. In contrast to the regular 401k, These accounts allow for tax-free growth and distribution, provided the contributions have been invested for at least 5 years and the account owner has reached age 59 and a half. Both of these accounts offer you different tax savings. I've only participated within the traditional 401k plan, but I'm thinking of slowly switching over to the Roth. You might be wondering, why in the world do I even need to save? Don't we have Social Security? Other people might be just saying, you must save because Social Security isn't going to be around. It's running out of money. Well, let's first set the record straight on this. Yes, we do have Social Security. Social Security is not going anywhere, but people are correct that eventually the trust fund will run out of its surplus. The fact is today, Social Security is designed to only replace 40%, yes, that is correct, 40% of your current income. Social Security is funded with payroll taxes, so while the surplus will run out of money, money will come always into the program. This means that it might need to cut back 20 to 25% on what it gives you. In addition, your Social Security amount is calculated based on your highest 35 years of wage service. Zeros are used for any years that you do not work. That is why saving for retirement is so important. While you may collect some Social Security, you need to make up the difference yourself. Now, one of the easiest ways to save is with free money from your employer. If your company provides a match, you probably want to fully fund your retirement account so that you take advantage of that entire match. My current employer gives me a 50% match up to 8% of my salary. So if I contribute 8%, my employer gives me 4% of my salary, contributing a total of 12% to my retirement. If you look at the pie chart on this slide, over 25% of my retirement funds currently come from my employer. That's potentially thousands of dollars. One note I do want to highlight is that if you are taking your company's match, please be careful of the vesting period. While companies do give you this matching contribution, they typically phase in the amount over a few years. Your contributions are always yours and can't be taken away. I personally like the grid showing how much you could save at different points in your career. It's a nice visualization. As I approach 50, I should have 5 times my current annual salary saved. I don't think we'll make it, but it's still a great goal to shoot for. Now let's look at your long-term savings and how it might grow within a 401k. We're going to be using Bankrate.com's Retirement Financial Calculator. We're going to be assuming a few different scenarios, and we'll try this out, or you could try this out yourself at a future time. Let's assume you're a recent college graduate. You get a starting salary of $30,000. You are 23 years old, so let's put that in. And you plan on retiring at 67. In this scenario, let's assume you take full advantage of your retirement and start with 6% of your income being put away. And you have no money currently in any retirement accounts. At this point, you will have just over $1.1 million for retirement. That is awesome. Looking further, you actually only contributed $165,000, and your company gave you a little bit more than $52,000. Well under the $1.1 million that you've raised. So much of it has come from the growth of investment. Looking at the graph, you'll see that so much of the growth happens well after the first 20 years of saving. Even after working 20 years, you will only have about 160,000. Let's put this on 43. Oh, you only have 106. Okay. So much of the growth happens really in the last 15 years. That is why starting early is so important. Let's assume now that you didn't start right away. You focused on other priorities. Maybe vacations, getting married, paying off your student loans. It could be anything. So maybe you didn't start saving until 35. Let's change that age. Of course, you would have gotten raises, so now after 17 years with a 3% increase, your salary should be around $50,000. You will have just over $700,000. That is almost a $400,000 difference. You'll have to increase savings. In order to make up the difference, which is $400,000, you'd have to increase your contribution rate to 11% to reach back up to around the $1.1 million. Maybe you want to risk that. Now, we said most people want to retire at 60-ish, not 67. Let's assume maybe around 63. Even at an 11% increase, you'll only have about, let's leave this at 67. And let's come back down to here on our grid. Little over $800,000. Those last 4 years add almost $300,000 to your account. Looking back at our first scenario, $30,000 might seem like a great salary, and saving 6% with another 3% of your company gets you a savings amount of almost $1.1 million. Just remember, inflation adds up. A starting salary of $30,000 at 23 might be a salary of $110,000 at 67. You'll need to adjust your assumptions for your end salary, not your beginning salary. I suspect after seeing some of those numbers, you might be feeling very confident about saving for retirement, especially if you started early or are planning ahead. The reality is the average 401k contribution is only 5.5%. Only 20% of participants are giving more than 10%. If you are dedicated and consistent, you will do great. Others of you might be thinking they will use the second scenario and pay off my student loan first, maybe save for a house, and then prioritize for retirement later. As you could see from us doing that retirement calculation, it is possible. The danger of putting off savings could result in you saving out in many years of investment growth. These early years can really boost your salary. The additional risk is what happens if you lose your job or are forced to retire early. We showed the numbers if you retired early, but what if you were forced to retire because of a layoff or another reason? Retiring early can wreak havoc on your long-term financial success. In that case, you might lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in only a few short years. In addition, you'll be spending that money down instead of getting the growth that you should have gotten. A sad statistic is that older workers typically take longer to find a new job, and many times this comes with a reduced salary. All of this can make a huge difference in your retirement. Financial wellness is about having the confidence for both short-term and long-term needs. While I hope you see the need to be saving for retirement, this is the one topic that I could see some differences of opinion. Many people today appear to want their kids to have some financial stake in their education. Also, parents today might be so strapped they can't afford to pay for their kids' college. As we first started today's topic, this topic is hard. It's about making choices. A way to help parents is to use a 529. A 529 plan is a tax-advantaged investment vehicle in America designed to encourage saving for higher education expenses. In 2017, K-12 public, private, and religious institutions were also included as qualified expenses for a 529 plan, along with post-secondary education. There are primarily two types of 529 plans, and those are prepaid plans versus savings plans. Prepaid plans consist of allowing participants to purchase tuition credits at today's rates to be used in the future. This is what I'm currently doing. I was concerned about a market crash shortly before my kids' education, so that is why I went in that direction. A savings plan is what most people use, and is based on market performance of the underlying investment, which typically consists of mutual funds. It is a personal decision. You will need to decide to either save for your kids' education, let them pay for it, or pay for part of it. As our survey showed at the beginning of this session, 87% of our college students today will have college debt. Today, the average student loan is $33,548. A key to paying for college is starting early. Let's say you put $105 away each month. You will basically have that average in 15 years. In reality, you'll only be saving $18,900, but through the growth, it'll make $33,000. The problem is paying for a student loan costs a lot more money. To pay off a loan of $33,548, you will need to be paying $265 a month for 15 years, assuming around 5% interest. That's for a total of almost $48,000 you'd be paying back. The difference is close to $29,000. That's a huge difference that you could be using someplace else. Hopefully we showed you some short-term and long-term financial goals to strive for. Now we want to pivot to something that frustrates me, understanding the medical benefits you might receive. For most employees, your company will provide you a benefit package, but they almost never provide you the direction on what to select. That is your decision. I wanted to highlight some of these benefits so that you can hopefully make a better decision on what fits you and your family's lifestyle. Listed are the most common types of medical plans your company may provide. Your employer may provide you only one option, or they may allow you to choose the best one that fits your lifestyle. Here are the most common types. Typically, HMOs are sort of price effective, but the main restrictions is you must always stay in-network. They do not pay for any out-of-network expenses. PPOs, or preferred provider organizations, are similar to HMOs, but they allow for out-of-network services, but they are typically very expensive. POS, point of service, are a combination. They again mostly allow only in-network services, but if your primary doctor allows you out-of-network services, it may be covered, still at a cost. Over the past 10 years, I've seen companies switch most over to high deductible health plans. These plans can be dramatically lower in price for you as an employee, especially if you are healthy, but do not go to the doctor. The challenge with them is they can get quite expensive if you need to visit the doctor or need a specialist. Here's a very high-level medical card to highlight the costs. If you are unfamiliar with these comparisons, they can get quite confusing. On this medical overview, this plan is offering a PPO and a high deductible health plan. As you can see, the difference per pay can add up. The PPO is $125 versus only $95 for a high deductible plan, a difference of $30 per pay. The most confusing components of these plans are in the in-network and out-of-network deductibles. For both of these plans, it is extremely important you stay in-network. In all of these plans, the participant is required to pay the first calendar year deductible before the plan even starts to pay any part of your bills. Once you meet the CYD, the plan will start to pick up the cost until you hit the annual out-of-pocket limit. This is why it's important to pick the correct plan. These deductibles can equal thousands of dollars per year. To assist you in affording your medical benefits, there are certain flexible spending accounts, FSAs, which may be provided to you. FSAs are tax-advantaged savings accounts which can result in payroll tax savings. The biggest disadvantage of these accounts is that they typically are a use it or lose it type of account. Each of these accounts do have a maximum tax savings, and there may be income exclusions for high earners. In addition, there are different types of FSA accounts, which may or may not be available to you. The dependent care FSA accounts can be used to help pay for dependent care, like day camps. The health FSA is used to pay for medical expenses, dental, and or eye care. This account cannot be combined with the high deductible savings accounts. There is a limited FSA, which can be used with a high deductible savings account, which can be used for dental and eye care, but not medical expenses. Again, as you can see, these accounts can be very confusing. Each of these FSA accounts can help lower your payroll taxes. Using these other tax advantage savings accounts or deferred tax advantage accounts can greatly reduce your current payroll taxes. The most important item is to understand your medical needs for the year before committing to them. With the rise of high deductible health plans and the high cost of out-of-pocket expenses with these type of plans, employees typically have a health savings account. A health savings account is a tax-advantaged medical savings account where the funds are not subject to federal income taxes. Some of the benefits of these accounts is that the money put in them is always the employees. In addition, employers may even contribute some money into the account to help pay for medical expenses. A benefit that many employees don't fully understand is the wonderful tax benefits that these accounts provide. They have a triple tax benefit. Money deposited into these accounts are pre-tax. They can grow tax-free, and you never pay taxes on the money if you use it for medical expenses. Most employees don't fully understand the value of this. As I talk with most employees, they put money into these accounts and then use it the same year, similar to an FSA. The biggest value of these accounts is letting the money grow like a 401k and using it for medical costs later in life. While there are multiple benefits a company may provide, one of the most One of the important ones I feel you should be aware of is long-term disability. Most companies will provide short-term disability in the event you can't work for a few weeks. Unfortunately, if you can't work after a set period of time, your employer isn't required to pay you. Long-term disability will provide you that financial stability and insurance. The big drawback is that it's insurance. You may use it or you may not. According to the Social Security Administration, 1 in 4 will be out of work for over 90 days. Understand your risks and if you want to take advantage of this benefit. As we first started to discuss, there are a lot of things that will pull at your finances. These might be the latest phones or the newest clothes. Here's my real world example, although I changed the salary. I thought this example might better help those starting out in their career or still in college to understand how their paycheck is actually literally split apart. When you initially hear the salary, you will think it's a lot of money, and it is. We're going to start with $50,000. But the reality is, you don't see all of it. Some is taken for taxes, some for your medical benefits, and other money hopefully will go into your long-term saving plans. Taking an estimated salary of $50,000, I divided that into bi-weekly payments of $1,923.08. Then using my percentages for my paycheck, you will see that you will only collect about 60% of your pay. It's not only taxes that take a sizable amount of your income, but for me, that was only 16%, but it's also your benefits. Benefits include your medical costs, as well as long-term savings, like my 401k, FSA, HSA accounts. At my stage of life, I've made that a priority. While your percentages will be different, please be aware that you still need to factor in all of your needs. For example, your housing, your phone bill, clothing, and other longer or short-term financial needs. Now that we've looked at a lot of different components of financial wellness and ways that you can save for what's important, let me highlight my personal recommendations. First off, start the emergency fund. Remember the name of the account. It's not a vacation fund or a home repair fund. It's an emergency fund. When saving for retirement, the most important thing is to start it. Don't wait. If your company is giving you a match, your first priority is to fully contribute up to the maximum amount to get the full match. Life changes, and if it's not able, and if you're not, life changes, and if life is challenging, and if you're not able to do that today, start with something. The tax-deferred advantage of a traditional 401k does make it easier. Then add 1% each year as you get your merit increase. This will get you to the maximum amount. If you were young and had the means, I'd actually recommend starting with a Roth 401k first. While you will pay the taxes now on the initial investment, all the growth of this money is never taxed. That seems so much valuable over the long term. If you know you're going to have certain medical expenses, make sure you take advantage of your FSA. You're going to be spending the money anyway, and it will reduce your taxes. It's a complete win. If you're in a high deductible savings account, and you're already saving to take full advantage of your company match, I recommend that you start to invest in your company's HSA. I would fully fund my HSA over additional money into my 401k because of that triple tax benefit. Do not make the mistake of thinking that HSAs are for your yearly medical expenses. You want to be saving that money and growing it as well for your retirement. Once you fully fund your HSA, then go back and start to fully fund your 401k up to the maximum taxable allowed. If you're looking at assisting your kids or future kids with their colleges, I just recommend again that you start early. A little bit of money over 15 to 20 years is much easier to manage. Lastly, just try and start early. Again, I can't stress that enough. Otherwise, you could end up like someone I know contributing over 20% of their salary to make up for previous years. You don't need to save 100% of your income your first day out of school or starting tomorrow. You can start increasing your savings 1 or 2% a year. If you get a bonus, put that away. Kickstart your emergency fund with your tax refund or direct it into your 529. Get creative and make it a game. Each of us will have our ideal goal. At the beginning of this course, I highlighted some of the difficult choices you need to make. It's a nice car. It's easy to want everything. Retire by 60, a great house, vacations every year, your kids going to an awesome university. Understand financial wellness and take advantage of your benefits. You will make it easier for That will make it easier for you to reach your short and long-term financial goals. I want to thank you for the opportunity to allow me to share my thoughts on financial wellness. I hope you reach your financial goals. While I care about your success, the person that cares the most about your financial success is you. Time is your friend. Start early, and even a small percentage can add up over time. Thank you.